Hey everybody, it's a beautiful and windy day here in Alto Boquete. You can hear it. Yeah, and we're going to have another great show talking about all kinds of things happening in Boquete, food, music, and we have a couple of wonderful guests today. And this is the weekend kickoff with me, Mike Schwartz.
And me, Patrick Reynolds. Hi, everybody.
Hello, Patrick. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, my friend.
Yeah.
I'm having another great Friday.
Well, a great Friday. You know what I did today?
What'd you do?
Well, I managed to. I'm sure it's going to be of interest to everyone.
Okay,
in
all right.
Boquete.
We're waiting.
I changed my garbage sticker into my name. It was in somebody else's name. Now it's in my name.
It's in your name.
My name.
Finally, you're
Yeah.
somebody in the world.
I am somebody.
You got
I
your
have
own-
my own garbage sticker.
Garbage sticker.
Yeah.
Hey, that's no small feat, man.
Yeah, no.
It's taken
Believe
us-
me, I was scared. I didn't know if I could do it.
It's
but
taken
I
us
did.
forever to get a garbage sticker.
Yeah.
But hey, we got one.
Yeah, well, that's the beauty of Boquete.
Yeah, because my
Eventually,
neighbors.
either
Yeah.
you move out or you'll get it done.
Well, my
know?
neighbors are tired of us throwing our trash in their yard,
Yeah, I know.
Because it's piling up high over the fence.
Because they don't have a garbage sticker either, apparently.
Might I say it sounds like it's piling up here, too.
Oh, and that is our first guest you just heard from. Welcome to the weekend kickoff, Phil Benzel.
Yay.
Phil.
Hey, Phil. How you doing today,
How you
Phil?
doing?
I'm doing
Phil?
just fine.
All right.
Most mornings it's fine.
Most
days
mornings.
it's fine. When you're 89 years old,
89.
you
89.
sort of accept the fact that day by day.
Day by day. Well, you're one of our most experienced guests.
Right.
I
That's a
think
nice
that
way
we've
to
had.
put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Phil, I from talking with you before, you're also a fellow New Yorker, so I feel a kinship with you already. Just having met you.
I was in New York. I was born in Jersey City, went through junior high school in New York, and then I went to
Okay,
high
I
school.
don't feel that kinship anymore. Jersey, no,
you've
no.
lost it. No,
That's lost.
Well,
The feeling is gone.
I'm embarrassed to tell it.
Could somebody show Phil out, please?
Actually, it's funny. My father, I told you, is from Brooklyn. My mother, Bayonne, New Jersey.
Well, I was Jersey City, and
I
they're
know,
adjoining.
very close,
They're
very
adjoining.
close, and caused a lot of friction, even though they were married for more than 50 years. Because my mother loved Jersey, and she always said it's the Garden State. I was like, where? I don't see any gardens.
Down south.
Yeah, down south.
Yes.
Well, I was born in Jersey City at Greenville Hospital. I don't even know if it still exists, which was right at the line between Jersey City and Bayonne. So,
Wow.
Right,
Okay. So
right.
you're a
I
borderline.
knew Jersey City because I went to Bayonne every weekend, just about.
Yeah.
Visit the grandparents.
Well, and close by was Hoboken with Frank.
Hoboken, yeah.
You know what? Shout out to all the East Coasters, the Jerseyites, the New Yorkers, the
yeah.
Hey, we
Some
got a lot of
days
them
we
here.
talk about California. Some days we
days-
talk about East Coast.
Have
Some
they had
days-
the blizzard in California? Has
They
it-
have actually. They've gotten snow. I've seen pictures from friends.
Really?
Snow on the ground in
Wow.
the San Fernando Valley.
Interesting.
Yeah, it happens once every 20, 30 years.
Wow.
And it doesn't last. It'll
Doesn't
be gone.
last.
It'll be gone
Just like
by
my
afternoon.
love life. Just doesn't last.
Do we presume there's no climate change, though?
Oh no, we can't. We can't presume anything at this point.
All right, Phil.
Yes,
let's
sir.
hear the Phil Benzel story. What
Wow.
brings you here to Boquete?
Yes.
first
Why
of
are you
all?
here, Phil?
We have a daughter and son-in-law who settled here 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
This is our second trip down. We were here. We went home. We arrived home on March 5th, 2020. And we live in a senior community of about 2,000 folks, and we got locked down about 7 days later.
Oh,
Wow.
my.
So we were going through the airport. We actually booked. We paid for use of the Copa Airlines lounge to stay out of, because word was getting around, things were happening.
Yeah.
So we weren't even. Maybe we were wearing masks. I don't
Okay,
remember. at the
okay.
time.
Yeah.
Wow. Copa Lounge is nice though. It's worth the extra money.
Well,
Yeah.
it was in this case because
Yeah.
we said, but they, with it all, they had food out, and they just. When we got home, I called the medical director, not the physician, a guy who's the administrator.
Yeah.
And I said, Dean, what do? We just got back from overseas. He didn't have any idea.
Uh-oh.
I mean, they were in
this,
Ipswich.
this is March of
March
20
5th.
March
Oh,
5th. Nobody
right.
had an idea. March
Yeah,
he
we had
said,
no clue.
Stay in your apartment, take your temperature, don't mix with people, and monitor your health and
Okay.
your temperature. So we went out to dinner that night, and with friends and hugging and greeting, after all the time. And we went to brunch on Sunday, and then we got locked in for several months.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember because I'm a musician. I play the drums, and I remember we had a gig. I can't remember the exact date, the 12th, the 15th, whatever that Saturday. It's one of those days.
We
Black
got home on
Saturday.
a Thursday the 5th, so the Saturday would have been the 9th. The 14th.
Well,
14th. Okay, maybe it was the 14th.
Well, that sounds about right.
Yeah, and a few days before the 14th, everything shut down. The gig
Yeah.
got canceled.
That's
Everything
right.
was canceled,
Yeah.
and we were in lockdown here. And the lockdown here was perhaps even more severe than elsewhere in the
Well,
Oh, it
we're in
was.
touch with Sharon, my daughter, and Roque, my son-in-law. Weekly, we do a FaceTime
Uh-huh.
or
Yeah.
Skype
Or
or
Zoom
whatever
or
it is.
whatever, yeah.
And your restriction, you did a good job down here.
They did a very good
We
job.
were in a good place because we were in the senior facility, which was really like a bubble.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really tight restrictions, and it was probably the safest place old folks like I could have been.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, and you're here with us today, which is a great thing.
So you're here visiting Boquete. What do you think of Boquete?
A lot of things.
Yeah.
I like it very much. I sometimes am envious of the kids. They're 70 and 65. Because it's a nice life. The nice part of it is the community seems to be very supportive and
It is
in-
very
True.
supportive.
interwoven.
That's true,
It
Phil.
is.
Yeah.
It is.
But, there are downsides to it, one of them being the insects.
Oh,
I mean, they got a lovely home, and there's dead flies laying all over the place all the
dead
time.
flies. Oh, wow.
And then the transmission when the stuff is spooling all the time, on the television.
oh, uh-huh.
Right.
But those are minor things. It's nice. It's
Yeah.
nice. We've
They
enjoyed
are
them.
minor things.
They
I
are.
have Phil. I have scorpions where I live. So-
I've heard this now. Somebody
Yeah.
said the ones they had were not poisonous.
Well,
Apparently, they're not.
they're kind of venomous, but not the kind that'll kill you. Or
Yeah, they won't kill you, but it's kind of like a bee sting. I've been stung twice.
Well,
by
I'm
scorpions.
hyperallergic, so I blow up.
so
Oh,
be
yeah,
careful.
you
Be
avoid
careful.
that.
But what I do is I just hit them with a shovel. That's
you got to use a lot of force. Scorpions are tough, man.
If you step
Wow.
on it, it's not enough.
Maybe not.
well, you probably could, but I like my scorpion shovel.
Got a
I
scorpion.
like to make sure.
He's got scorpions painted on it, and each one is crossed out for
Right.
everyone. He's
And that way I can
That's like
kill
the fighter
him.
pilots.
exactly.
I can kill him and dig the grave in
Yeah.
one easy swoop.
That's
One
cute.
easy swallow. So we understand also, Phil, that you are no stranger to radio because you have your own radio show.
Actually, it's television. Please.
Television
Television.
Ah,
I live in what is known as Charlestown Senior Residence.
okay.
It is a wide spread over acres and acres of multiple buildings connected by covered bridges. Long walks. I use a scooter at home.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Here I use a rollator. And in the house I use a rollator. And where was I? Oh, we got there. Today's almost March. It'll be 4 years, March 17th.
Wow.
We actually moved in.
Okay.
Wow.
And real quickly, walking by the television studio, I said, this is up my alley. So I stopped in and said, can I do something? I really had in mind to do some of this technical stuff.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And he said, what's your interest? I said, sports. He says, I got a woman who's been bugging me to do a sports show.
Oh.
So he put the two of us together. She's a little teeny, well, she was blonde, a really bubbly, alive,
Yeah.
personable young lady. She's 75 or 77
Oh, wow.
or something
It's all
like that.
perspective.
And we've been at it for the better part of 4 years, and it's been beautiful. And we run this. We have closed circuit television in the community. And we do a weekly sports show, which we record earlier in the week, but which runs generally on Friday. It's called the Sports Nuts.
Okay.
Sports nuts.
I like that.
That was my title.
Uh-huh.
And I also do when I'm doing the show, I do things called Phil's Fabulous Factoids. That's with PH.
Okay.
And we got good team of young people, and they started doing graphics. And when we talk about a football play, they run
Right.
it, a Ravens play or something like that. So it's really but the fun part is that in my entire life, never voiced to very many people, my secret dream was to be a sportscaster.
Oh, so
So,
you got
in
to
my 80s, I got to
live
fulfill
that.
my dream. Yeah.
Hey, that's
Wow.
very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not just talking about like sports, like covering shuffleboard, are you? You're like
No,
you're actually,
well, we do some of that, but mostly,
you?
well, we have to. We have a bocce ball tournament,
league
so
or something?
we had the champion,
Yeah.
the commissioner, come and talk with
Oh.
us. We had a woman for what do they call that stuff with the beanbag.
Cornhole.
I
Bean
hate
toss?
that name.
I know. It has a different connotation
Right, but
from an earlier
but
time.
we had the woman who's in charge of that. She was our first guest ever, and she went on for about an hour.
Oh, wow.
With the
Yeah.
history and
Really?
how to build it. It was really terrible. But a couple of months ago, we had the guy who's sort of the commissioner of the bocce ball, which is catching on. And I do bocce ball sitting in my roller.
Yeah,
Really?
do.
Wow.
All
So
right.
I can at least get
How
into
about pickleball? That's a big thing. You have
Yeah,
that
but not
down
for.
there?
There is none within the facility
Yeah.
yet. They say
Oh.
they're going to put some up, but
That's
the
a-
pickleball is very big in Maryland.
It's huge down here,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
I know,
it's,
I-
it's the
Everybody
biggest,
plays it.
fastest growing sport in the
been,
world. I think.
I've been going over to the gym with my son-in-law to watch them.
Yeah.
So, what's your favorite sport?
I think I have to say baseball. I grew up
Baseball.
with baseball.
Okay.
I'm back to the Dodgers in '41 and that
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah.
So I like football, but I'm appalled by the business end of these sports,
Well, you know.
particularly the NFL.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Corrupt as can be.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Well, you get a lot of
Well-
money into something. and
Well,
Show
that's the
me the
thing.
money.
If you, I've said this on my show. The three agencies, which I regard as the most corrupt in sports, are the NFL, the NCAA, and FIFA.
Oh, wow.
The baseball seems to be managed a little better.
Okay.
Basketball has had some real good, except some conflict with the China thing. And
Yeah.
but I'm just appalled by the NFL's continuing denial of the injuries and that.
Yeah,
Right,
that is
yeah.
a problem, man.
Yeah.
Though they did themselves proud on the Buffalo Cincinnati game when the kid collapsed
Oh,
on the
sure,
field.
yeah.
I mean, they had the right people on hand, and
Okay.
a miracle
Right.
saving that
Yeah.
kid. It
Yeah,
was really,
saved
it was
his
really,
life.
really
Yeah, well, that's a
something.
good thing. Absolutely, absolutely.
They spent a half hour resuscitating him, so he
Wow.
was,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
he was in bad shape.
Wow,
so,
that's
Yeah, he was in very
that's a
bad
lot.
shape. Yeah.
When you at your facility there, when people are playing bocce ball or shuffleboard or whatever, is it always friendly, up and up, or do fights break out like
I'm
hockey?
a competitive guy too, but and when I was a tennis player, I was a terror, just screaming on the court.
Like McEnroe style?
I didn't get into fight. Well, I did occasionally, but I was. I ran the tennis group at a former community we lived in when I was probably in my 70s, and I ran it because I scheduled it and all. And one of the guys was taking pictures of all the players, and at the end of the season, he had done a caricature of me, and with the photographs of all the players around with some comments, and then he had down in one portion of this hangs in my bathroom, I think. Philisms.
Oh yeah.
I can't get it up, meaning I couldn't get the serve ball. And that ball was surely in, that kind of stuff. So, but
Oh man.
I think I've lost some of that now. But yes, it's friendly,
Yeah.
but I can see a little rumbling on the surface of people who really want to win, And I'm one of them, but I don't think I show it anymore.
Oh,
I
man.
I used to beat up on myself.
Okay.
Well, I used to play a lot of tennis also,
Yeah.
and I belonged to a clay court in New York, clay court tennis club. And we had, a lot of members, very competitive. And one of the funniest, it wasn't funny at the time, I guess, because one of my good friends is a professional piano player. And he got into a beef with another guy, and these guys were both in their 60s, and they were really angry at one another, and they ended up, coming at each other and bumping chests,
Oh,
and I
my.
thought. And half of us were laughing because we knew that they didn't want to, really hurt one another, but they were so angry at one another, and we had to separate them. But you're right. there's a lot of over bad calls and all these things.
Yeah, and it's honor system.
Honor system.
So,
Yeah. If you're not playing in good faith with honor, man. what's the point?
I go out to the gymnasium with Roquet.
Yeah.
I've been there 4 or 5 times. I've got to be there for 3 hours because he brings me, and I scoot in with my scooter, and then I'm there until he's ready to leave.
He
And
leaves
it's
you in the
12 to
corner
3.
with a bowl of water.
Yeah, and those people it's the most cordial, friendly, not competitive, but
Unantagonistic?
unantagonistic is the word I'm
think
looking
that's a
for.
word,
They
yeah.
really, they complement each other, and if a player is relatively less on the court than somebody else, take that serve over again, that kind of thing.
Oh, very
so
cool.
It's
Very nice.
It's very much like this community is down here. That's the thing
Yeah.
I'm most impressed with this expat community. I mean,
Well, we love it down here, and we try to promote things. We usually talk about music, food, restaurants, community events, and Patrick and I usually laugh at the number of expats who, there's always a group that are not going to be satisfied, and they're going to be the complainers.
listen,
And-
I'm in this community of 2,000 people, and we have 4 or 5 dining rooms, and the constant conversation when it's not about health and
Yeah.
doctor's visits
Right.
is about the food and
Sure.
this piece of
Sure.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's human nature. on
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
And while we're talking about food, we should mention our sponsor.
Who is?
Who is Big Daddy's Grill? If you're looking for some boom boom chicken,
Oh,
boom
man.
boom shrimp,
And crazy
boom
good
boom-
margaritas.
yeah,
Yeah.
whatever.
And donuts. They have donuts.
The donut shop and coffee shop
Yeah.
open in the morning. Stop in. Now they have other things as well.
They have bagels.
Bagels, but they have delicious donuts. I don't know why Chris doesn't bring donuts every week,
Every week.
to the radio show. He brought
Chris,
donuts one time. I'm sorry, Phil.
Yeah,
no
well,
donuts.
I feel neglected.
Yeah.
Yeah, Phil's neglected,
Imagine
Chris.
us. Every week we're waiting for donuts. They
But
don't appear.
Where else in this part of the world can you get a nice big donut and a cup of coffee for 79 cents?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In any part of the world.
Yeah.
Big Daddy's. That's
Big
where.
Daddy's. Well, the coffee is 79 cents.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was coffee and a donut.
I don't think so.
No, it's just coffee. Forget
Donuts
the
at
donut
home
part.
are about $1.20 a piece nowadays. So
Yeah.
The
But
donuts?
they're delicious.
Donuts, yeah.
Yeah.
bagels too.
Yeah.
Bagels. I think he has, some days he has bagels.
Well, my kids buy bagels. I don't want to mention where because you got a sponsor, and
Oh well, we're it's cool. I mean,
Yeah.
we're friendly with everybody. Morton's Bakehouse, they have delicious bagels.
We got a big kick early on at learning that Boquete, Panama had a kosher baker. So
Well, the two things that brought me to Boquete, the Jewish bakery, coming from New York, and I can't believe this little town has a Jewish bakery, and because I'm a musician and I'm a big fan of the Blues and Jazz Festival, or Jazz and Blues Festival, Boquete Jazz and Blues Festival, and we want to say that last week we had John Wolfe on, the Jefe of the Jazz and Blues Festival,
See.
and that is starting in less than 1 month.
Yep.
They're going to have a kickoff event, some event on the 16th,
There's a wine tasting,
Wine tasting?
March 2nd
March 2nd.
at
Okay.
Mesa Azul.
All right. But
we
they're-
had dinner there one night.
Yeah.
But the festival goes into full gear on the 17th, 18th, and 19th. Make sure you get your tickets.
Yeah.
If you can, because they sell out fast.
Indeed.
3
Yeah.
years ago, we went to the Garden Day.
Oh, did you?
The garden
I
party.
could have won. I have that T-shirt.
Oh,
how cool.
terrific.
But I
terrific.
wanted to advertise my
Yeah.
The Baltimore Orioles.
Baltimore.
All right.
Actually, I'll be playing in the festival this year. The 2020 festival. I don't know if that's the one you were at.
At the Panama Day out in the garden.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was probably it.
Well, that year I was what they call a band host. I drove
remember
band
that.
members around, and that's when COVID hit. The last day, I may have had COVID. I didn't even know it, but I got very, very sick and I couldn't. I had to go home, and COVID started like right after that, and so. Why are we bringing that up
Well-
again? Why am I bringing that up again, Phil?
Well, we came down here, and the four of us got locked in for a week with COVID.
Yeah.
And then my wife has now got shingles. And I have to say this. The medical attention that she got here was absolutely spectacular.
Doctors are great here.
2 house calls.
Yeah.
Guy
House calls.
Yeah,
2
absolutely.
House calls.
House calls.
Roque went over to this place. You know where it is. I don't know what it is. It's the private, whatever, clinic.
Uh-huh.
And he went over to question, and it was during that. It was either the Sunday or Monday of the holiday weekend last week. And he went and said, I have a mother-in-law who's sick, and we need attention. He said, how old is she? And he said, 85. And he says, would you prefer a house call? And the guy came to the house twice, but he texted back and forth.
I never knew that.
It's valuable to know about it.
It is valuable.
That's a clinica across from the Bomberos.
The last house call I think I had was when I was a kid in
That's
Queens.
Right. That's
you know?
right.
And you know what my doctor's name was at the time? I thought it was great.
Vinny
Boombots? No. His name was great. Dr. Fine.
Dr. Fine.
Dr. Fine.
I like it.
Yeah.
Fine.
F-I-N-E, yeah.
Dr.
Yeah.
Fine. Feeling good, feeling fine.
Feeling
That's
Dr.
fine.
right. That's right. Well, my mother died when I was not quite 12, and she died of a peritonitis, a burst appendix.
Okay.
And I always had the image that, you didn't go to the doctors in those days. It was an expensive proposition.
Right.
And I just imagined she was nursing this thing along and all, and
Putting it off.
It went to past the
Yeah.
point of, and penicillin was available. She could have been saved. So.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
But I got to agree with you. The medical care down here is top notch.
Yeah.
It's first rate. That clinic that you went to, that was established by Dr. Ballesteros, who is the father of an ex-president, who is my next-door neighbor.
Is he in jail?
No, not at all.
No,
He was-
the ex-president.
No, he was a well-liked president. here.
Because Roque has a fond saying that our president served twice, in office and afterwards.
Okay, the opinions expressed by Phil are his alone.
That's right, they're
They
mine.
do not
They're mine.
No, they,
reflect the opinions of the
right.
people from the
Well,
weekend
I have
kickoff.
to be
Yeah,
very
that's right.
complimentary. I've told you about the friendliness of the community.
No, actually, most of the ex-presidents are very fondly thought of here. So, and my neighbor is a fine
Yeah.
person. He never bothers me personally, but his Secret Service is out front when he's in town. So
Yeah.
you got a little extra protection in the neighborhood. Not that we need any, because we don't.
Well, that's how beautiful Boquete is, that most of the ex-presidents want to have a home here.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. This is
So-
like the Aspen of
Yeah. I mean,
Central
we were
America,
at the
kind of.
Panamonte for a cocktail hour the other night, and the walls are full of famous people who
Oh,
come and
yeah,
stay there,
yeah.
Yeah.
including actors and actresses.
Wow, Phil, you really get around, huh?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm a very active, handicapped 89-year-old. I
Yeah.
can't sit still. At home, I'm busy all the time. My schedule is
Yeah.
piled up,
Yeah.
because besides doing the show, which doesn't take a lot of time, I sit down for about a half hour, make some notes on the weekend's activities. But we have a 4,000 plus film library
Oh, wow.
for residents to borrow from for
Wow.
their DVD players, and we run a weekend Saturday night and occasional Friday night foreign films, and I'm in charge of that whole program, and I buy the films, I select them, I put the schedules together.
You are a busy
so
guy.
I am a busy guy.
You
Yeah.
got what we say in Spanish, spilkus. You got
yeah,
spilkus.
I have spilkus, but because I'm now
remember those
handicapped,
Spanish.
I've really learned how to sit in one place.
Yeah.
Because getting up is very difficult.
Very tough, huh?
That was Yiddish, by the way.
I-
wasn't
That is
I
Spanish.
thought that
spilkus.
might
It means
be.
ants in the pants. That's an old expression, I think. Ants in the
Yeah,
pants.
ants in the
yeah,
pants.
You know, spilkus.
Yeah.
can't sit still. You've got so much energy. I can't imagine you just sitting still and doing nothing.
Well, your body tells you to slow down.
Well, that's true. That's
I
true.
have neuropathic feet, so I can't stand up without wavering and
Yeah,
hanging on.
yeah.
So it's
Okay.
It's very disheartening to me because I was an athlete all my life. Not
Yeah.
a very good one, but I played all kinds of ball and played tennis for many years.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I can say this on the air. There are two things I miss most in old age: tennis and sex. And I don't know which one I miss more. So.
Well, that's a thing that happens, I guess.
Yeah, damn it.
I'm just thinking that later on people are going to say, "Hey, what closed down your show? Didn't you have a show?" Yeah, we had Phil Benzel on, and we got closed
I'm
down.
sort of
89-year-old guy.
How about uninhibited? Is that a good
Uninhibited.
description?
Yeah, I don't know.
We love you, Phil.
I don't know what the censorship rules are in this country.
Yeah, there's probably none anyway. So
Just don't. The main thing is you really can't trash talk people. You can't really
Yes, you
badmouth
cannot
other
do
people.
that.
Or strong libel.
Well, even on the show when I do it,
Yeah.
we record it, as you know.
yeah.
If I let out a damn or a hell, I squirm a little bit and then sort of apologize,
Yeah.
because it's old folks. And,
Yeah.
Sure.
It happens to be one of the first facilities of its kind in the country. It was started by a guy who ran it up to be a major business, a guy named Erickson, and it's located in a facility, the older buildings of which have a Catholic chapel and was a seminary for priests.
Oh.
So it's heavily Catholic,
Uh-huh.
and it's located in a sort of working class area of Baltimore County, the county that surrounds the city. And we moved in there with trepidations. I mean, we're flaming liberals, and it ends up that the community is pretty forward-looking.
Oh, okay. That's always
you
nice.
sit down at dinner, and you're not supposed to discuss politics.
Right,
but
right.
Right.
Things are said, and you have comments, and we've had some controversies in the community kicked off by the other side, but it's a really, really warm, and that's another one of my activities. I'm very active in a group called the DIB. Let me get it right: Diversity, Inclusion, and Belonging.
Oh, wow. That sounds
opening
cool.
up
Yeah.
to.
Sounds like a group I wouldn't want to belong to, though.
Well, the name of it's off-putting. I gotta say that, but its purpose is
DIB.
great. The purpose,
Dibs.
we're a group of about 50 households of Jews
Uh-huh.
in this community of 2,000, and my wife, bless her, 67 years, I might say.
Well,
Wow,
congratulations.
Mazal Tov.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mazal Tov. Boy, you say it like an Israeli.
I lived in Israel. Yeah.
Did you?
Yes.
My wife was born there.
Oh, no kidding.
Well, it was Palestine.
Yeah.
But it was cute because I was in the pool one day at my former community with an Israeli, and I was talking about, I said, my wife was born there, but it was before it was Israel. And he said, it was always Israel. So,
All right.
where'd you live?
Oh, I lived. I was actually did an Ulpan. You know what that is? A language course on.
You speak it?
Yeah. Kibbutz Revivim, and that was Golda Meir's kibbutz, and
Oh,
she
wow.
was still alive when I was
Wow.
there. I never actually met her, but
How long was the program?
6 months.
And you learned Hebrew in that time?
Well, I learned Hebrew, but I was also in the army, and I learned Hebrew there.
You were
so-
in the IDF?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I
wow.
was, yeah.
Yeah.
Impressive.
So- well, not really.
Any of the wars?
No. I was in 1979 to 81. I had to do 18 months, and
I don't want to get into politics and world affairs and all, but there was a book entitled My Promised Land, written by a very progressive Israeli journalist, in which he spoke to some of the stuff on both sides that wasn't
Yes.
very pleasant. So
Yeah, well, I
You know,
mean,
It sounds,
let's get back to
Yes, let's get over
back
that.
to you're doing your sports show
Yeah.
there, and you're in Maryland, right?
yeah, it's called
So-
Catonsville, Maryland.
Yeah,
It-
and I must say you're wearing the Baltimore Orioles T-shirt, so you must be a big fan of the
I'm a
Baltimore.
big fan of the
Yeah.
Ravens and the O's, and
Yeah.
the O's have been on bad times, but they had a marvelously improved season last year, so
Uh-huh.
it looks like they're moving toward. They've got the same leadership team that built the Cubs up to the World Championship and the
Oh.
Astros to the World. The manager and the general manager and the computer guy, the analyst.
so they should be doing real good
Well,
this
they
year.
made
right?
their big step there this year. They improved by 31 games.
Okay.
They
Well, that's huge.
They went,
That's huge.
They went from 106 or 100 losses to 83
Yeah.
wins.
Have you, Phil, have you been to a baseball game here in Panama?
Yes, the last time we were here.
Oh, how
Cool.
cool was that?
Well, it was kind of cool, the stadium. First of all, we had a hard time finding our way around. My son-in-law parked, and we we got around. We finally got out into the stadium itself
In David or here
in David.
Oh, okay.
And we watched the game. I don't know what level it was, but Panama has had some top-flight baseball players.
Sure.
Yeah,
There are two
yeah.
Hall of Famers, I
Sure.
guess.
Yeah.
Rod Carew and
Mariano
Rivera.
Yeah.
I'm virulently anti-Yankee, but
You are.
yes, I am. Well, I'm an old Dodger fan.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
because of that.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
of that.
ESPN, I think, or Netflix did a really interesting series, interesting to me, on the long-term rivalry between the Dodgers and Yankees.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and it's still going. Now the Dodgers are the dynasty. They are the
Sure.
ones with the huge payrolls who signed the ball
Yeah.
players. So,
Don't you think that's what's kind of unfair also about
course.
baseball, that the
course.
huge payrolls, really, you can buy a championship pretty
yeah,
much.
but I'm going to say this much. I'm a labor person. I'm pro-union.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
No ball player I've ever heard of walked into contract negotiations holding a gun to the guys' heads. The owners
Oh,
are
no.
really responsible for this.
Oh, they are, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
the greed and,
Yeah, but what I mean is the smaller market teams.
Oh, yeah,
they-
well,
it'd be
Baltimore's
very,
a smaller
very
market
hard.
team.
Yeah.
They were a dominant force in the 70s and early 80s, so.
I haven't really followed the baseball here that much, but from what I understand, it's
Maybe
it's competitive, but all the regions, all the different provinces, the different towns, they have their teams, and it's a very not. I won't say it's not a competitive thing, but it's more. It seems more friendly. I don't know.
Well, they're probably not. They're not affiliated with the majors in any way. As
I have
far as
no
I know.
idea, yeah.
They're
Don't know.
probably equal to a Class A. Or
Probably.
They have
something.
nice uniforms.
I have to
I've
tell you,
noticed.
though, a wonderful Panamanian story. I happen to be, I don't follow sports that much. When I was in the States, I did follow sports a lot, probably like you. And I don't follow it since I've gotten here. But I happen to be in Boquete del Toro. You know Boquete del Toro?
I know of it.
Okay. So I happened to be there for another reason, just to, visit. And it happened to be while the baseball championships were on, and it was between Chiriquí, this province, and Boquete del Toro. And there's a park in Boquete del Toro, and they had a big screen TV on, and all the people of Boquete del Toro were out in the park cheering on their team. It was so like old-fashioned and beautiful.
Oh, that's
It
cool.
was such a wonderful
There's
thing.
some interesting things going on. There's a team in, I want to say Durham. No, Savannah, Georgia, I believe.
Yeah.
And the owner is a guy who's instituted rule changes for that stadium. He's put in time clock on pitchers, which is happening this year in Major League Baseball.
A time clock.
Yeah.
Really?
And two visits,
To the mound?
two pickoff tries per batter. You can't throw over the first more than 2 times.
Yeah,
I don't like that. I
Well,
don't think I like
this
that.
guy put in a set of rules. One of which that I got such a kick out of was that a foul ball into the stands, if it was caught, is an out. You
Oh,
know, that
really?
kind of stuff.
Caught
Into the
by-
stands.
Yes.
Caught
What
by
was
a
it?
spectator.
Yes, and he's got and they wear these bright yellow. They're called the Savannah Wasps or bee, and he gets in the stands and he cheers for this. It's kind of cute.
Well, if the opposing team hits a foul ball, you're going to catch it. But if your team hits the
true.
foul ball, you're not going to catch
Well,
it.
there's a little method to his madness there.
I
isn't there?
guess.
Yeah, somebody,
then-
you go sit in the opposing team's outfield,
Right.
over there.
Well, the Major League Baseball is really implementing some major rule changes this year. They, I don't know how up on things you are. The shift, about
The shift, yeah.
No, I'm
outlawed. There have to be 2 infielders on either side of second base.
I don't think that's a bad rule.
I think it's a good rule.
Yeah, I think that's a good
okay.
rule.
But
Okay.
the time clock on the pitchers and the batters have to stay in the batter's box. And I don't know if you guys know it, but they instituted a thing, I think it was last year, where the catcher has a device on his wrist by which he signals the pitcher
Oh, really?
the location and what pitch he wants, and the pitcher can hear it. Well,
that
they've
sounds
changed
like
the
that.
rules this year that the pitcher can now institute the call. So they're making some changes in baseball, I think, for the better.
How much is it to go to a major league Baltimore Oriole game?
Well, we went to the last game last season with a bunch. We put a group together, and it cost us. We had box seats, sort of,
Yeah.
and they were, I think they were $60 a piece.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
$17 for a hot dog.
Yeah,
No,
I
I'm
can
kidding.
see
I
I
that.
don't
haven't
know.
seen
I don't
that,
know.
but it's close to that.
Very close.
I was kidding. I don't
I
know.
think it's
No,
12.
I
I
think
don't
you're
know.
not off the mark much.
And we went there. It happened to have been a doubleheader because the day before it was rained out, and this was the last game. And it was a full crowd.
Yeah.
And we got there almost at the end of the first game, and my wife wanted to get a beer, and she said, "I'm going to wait, and I'm going to wait." So she got to about the 6th inning of the game we were watching, and she went down to get her beer. I don't know what it was going to cost, but she couldn't get it because the rule was in double headers they closed the sale of alcohol after the 5th inning.
Holy
So
smokes.
she went without.
Oh, wow.
Well,
See,
but
people, you act like children, then you get these draconian rules imposed upon
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't
going
think-
back, I'm still hung up on that limit of the pickoff attempts. I'm not too crazy
that one
about
bugs
that.
me. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, because it seems to. Oh, the other big thing is they've increased the size of the bases
Oh,
by, I think it's an inch and a half all
that's
around.
interesting.
Why?
I don't know the why, but you know, it's going to help the base stealers, the fast
Sure,
guys. you know,
Yeah,
or something.
yeah,
Sure.
absolutely.
And it's also going to help guys on infield grounders where that bing bang play at first base.
Right.
You know, the runners are going to beat it more frequently.
Well, another great thing about Panama, though, is you can go to a baseball game, get a hot dog, some beers, and it won't break the bank. you
Not
know?
at all.
I don't think you can do that for under $100.
I think
bucks in the
$17
States.
you could feed a
people go
family
out
of
to the
5.
ball game with 2 kids.
Yeah.
And God, they probably spend $120 or more for 4 tickets.
Oh man.
And beers are 12 or 13 or 14 bucks now.
Yeah,
and hot
yeah.
dogs are something like 12. I mean, it's just.
It's
But
insane.
football and basketball are.
All right,
are-
Phil, let me ask you this. Being, you don't mind if I call you an old timer, right? Old timer? Is that
That's a compliment.
pejorative? That's a compliment. Well, a guy, maybe if you were a Dodgers fan, that's what was the park?
Ebbets Field.
Ebbets Field. What do you think a hot dog costs back in Ebbets Field?
I can probably tell you because, curiously enough, I left New York in '48 to move to Florida.
Right.
But I went back with my closest friend and spent the summer of '50,
Right.
and I worked at Ebbets Field as a hustler. A hustler is
Really?
a guy who walks around with the ice cream or the hot
Really?
dog. And it was one of the great experiences of my life being a Dodger fan. It happens to have been the year that the Dodgers blew a 13.5-game lead to the
No
Giants.
kidding.
But I think they were about a quarter then.
A quarter.
And it was interesting because they assigned you each day to something else,
Yeah.
programs or ice cream,
Right.
sticks.
Yeah.
And if they didn't like you, on the cold days they gave you ice cream, and on the hot days they
Right.
gave you coffee.
Right.
But if they gave you hot dogs, which was profitable,
Yeah.
it was that big case that you
Yeah.
carried.
Oh, yeah.
And it had a steamer in it. And you had to open it up, and the steam would come in. You had
Oh.
to take that dog out and put it in there. None of this.
And
throwing-
you hot dogs,
Yeah, right.
hot dogs.
So I didn't make much money, but it was a really interesting experience. And it was run by this, I think it was called Harry M. Stevens. They ran
Oh, I remember that name somehow.
the outfit, all the
Yeah.
ballparks in the New
Yes.
York area.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. They
yeah.
all had an outfit.
We would get transferred to Yankee Stadium for a particularly busy series, that kind of thing.
I'm very reluctant to tell you this. You know, my
You're a
father.
Yankee fan.
No. I actually was a Mets fan.
Okay.
Because I grew up
that's
in Queens.
the successors to the Dodgers, yes.
Well,
In a sense.
but I'm reluctant to tell you this because my father.
69?
No. My father's from Brooklyn. He was not a Dodgers fan. He was not a Yankees fan.
Giants.
He was a Giants
My
fan.
father was a Giants fan.
No kidding.
And my oldest memories of baseball go back to the 1941 World Series. Some of your listeners may know this or remember it. They were playing the Yankees. They were in the World Series for the first time in 20-some years. And the Dodgers were down 2-1, and they were 1 out away from winning the 4th game when Mickey Owens, the catcher, dropped a third strike.
Wow.
And Tommy Henrik got to first base, and the Yankees won the game. So instead of 2-2, it went 1-3, and I cried like a baby. That's my first
You
memory.
have a very good memory.
That's amazing.
You have a great memory.
And that's part of
Wow.
why I quit watching sports. I didn't want my day to get ruined anymore
Well-
by essentially athletic entertainers.
Well, I work with this bubbly young lady on the show, and she knows her sports. As a matter of fact, she worked for the Orioles.
Yeah.
She was Frank Robinson, a Hall of Famer who was general manager and manager. She was his assistant.
Wow.
So she knows her stuff, but she cannot abide the fact that I watch football games retrospectively. I record them. I get too nervous, so I record the game, and I keep checking on my phone the score, and I'll turn it on at halftime. But I know what's ultimately happened, and I see the plays and all, and then I wait for the second half until I know the result.
Wow.
And I watch, and she can't. And it's partly because of my nerves. She says, you can go buy the commercials if you record. I said, it's not the commercials. It's my nerves. I can't.
Wow.
Okay.
You shouldn't get that intense about stuff like this.
I got to tell you one more little New York tidbit because I grew up. My dad would take me to the Mets games, and you know where they started?
Shea Stadium.
No.
Polo Grounds?
Polo Grounds.
I didn't remember that.
They started in the Polo Grounds. And what I remember, I mean, I was a very young child, but I remember that the audience, the fans, used to leave to the field.
Right.
You'd go to the
all
field
the
level.
ballparks. All the ballparks.
You go to the field level. So when I was a kid, every time I went to a game, I would go to the grass and I would take a little bit of the grass. So I had like
you have
the grass.
It still at home.
No, I don't. I don't have the grass. Of,
man, you had Polo Grounds grass.
Polo Grounds grass. Yeah.
Well,
Anybody ever play polo there, or is that just what they
I
call
think it was a. I think it was.
Well,
a
what
real Polo Grounds.
it was a long rectangle.
right?
Yeah.
And left field was something like 250 feet. That's when Bobby Thompson hit that shot heard around the world. It would have not been a home run in any other ballpark on Earth.
250 feet is
Yeah.
very short.
Yeah. I could almost.
And
hit
that's
a
another
golf
thing
ball
I
that
never
far.
understood about baseball.
The uneven parks.
Yeah, every
But
park is different.
I've often, they went for a while with these new stadia, which were all
Right.
images of the other, and they were terrible. It's nice because there's different bounces. I mean, it puts,
Well, I don't know, because baseball fans focus so much on records. How many home
Absolutely.
runs? How
Absolutely.
many this? How many that?
Oh, my.
And when one home run, 251 feet, one is 400 feet.
well,
it's
the
like-
Orioles moved their left field fences back. I think it was last year, 25 feet, and built a much taller wall, so it
Yeah.
cut back the home.
I mean,
run.
imagine in football, one guy says, I want to have a football field 150
That's
yards
one of the
long.
things that makes baseball so unique.
Yeah, I mean, that's your argument, I guess.
Right there. And I used to feel the same way. It's only fair that the ball bounces the same way and is predictable and all that.
Well, I'm not so concerned with the ball bounce. I mean, I'm just the distance. I think that's what troubles me.
Well, let me ask you another question, quasi baseball related, because you went to a baseball game here in David at Kenny Saracen Stadium. A lot of ways, and this was my impression when I first, it still is kind of, and I want to get your take on this. In a lot of ways, being here kind of feels like being in the U.S. in the 50s or 60s, but with high-speed internet. It seems like this is a much, simpler.
Well,
kind
it
of
is. I mean, it's
calmer.
I kid Roquet, my son-in-law, that the third world country and all, but it's 20 or 30 years further back in modernization, most of which is a lot of crap, if you ask me. I mean, the world has got to be a pretty pressured place.
Yeah,
so.
this is true.
And I do internet and I do computer and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but the feeling here is, I mean, I think of it as Mayberry of Panama.
Well, isn't that what brings people here?
Aren't
they looking for a little?
It's one of the things, and it is a very beautiful place to live. The climate, certainly.
Yeah.
Of course, I have a
me here.
mixed marriage, mixed racial marriage, and that it seems to me, and Roquet feels that way. I get it from him. It seems to be much more receptive to.
Absolutely, there's quite a lot of
and the closer and the longer you're with it, you realize just how terrible the history of the United States on this issue is.
Right.
It's a stain on the national.
Absolutely.
It's not been a great thing. Yeah, but I agree. I think that's one of the big reasons that people come down here is because of that feeling of this feels. It's like deja vu. This is what life felt like when I was growing up, kind of.
Yeah.
I think another reason people come down here, maybe the biggest reason,
Climate.
Boom Boom Chicken.
Big Daddy's Grill.
Oh, boy.
Big Daddy's
Is that-
Grill.
is that
have
like Bang Bang?
It's boom, 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 bang, bang.
Out
Call it
back
what
in
you
the
want.
United
You
States
call it what
sells
you
Bang
want.
Bang shrimp.
Bang Bang Shrimp.
Is it like in a sweet?
It's a
spicy. It's kind of a
Sweet,
spicy,
spicy, okay.
sauce.
Yeah.
Very popular. Big Daddy's Grill.
Yeah.
Big Daddy's now donut shop in
Yeah.
the morning. Stop in for a cup of coffee.
So they don't have Boom Boom Donuts yet. But I think that you should
Maybe
try that,
this
Chris.
show will initiate it,
Knowing
right?
Chris, he's probably working on it right,
Right
now. He's
now,
like,
yeah.
how can I make a
Yeah.
boom boom sauce for donuts?
And his chocolate donuts are vegan now. I don't know if you knew that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I am a vegan
Yeah.
while I sleep.
While you sleep.
Yeah. for about 6 hours a night, I'm a
You're-
total
One
vegan.
of those guys that eats cows because they're vegan.
They are vegan.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, all right. No,
But yeah,
no problem there.
so we have to remind people about our sponsor of our show.
Oh, and yeah, the other thing is real quick, Gabrielle, I love you.
Oh, shout out
Naomi,
to
I love
Gabrielle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gotta give
And,
a shout out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's not forget Zuleika, our wonderful engineer,
Yes.
Zuleika.
Hi, Zuleika.
Everybody say hello to
Hello,
Zuleika.
hola.
Hola.
All
yeah,
right.
yeah.
So we've covered sports. Phil, anything we haven't covered that you want to?
Oh, there's lots of things. I mean, you know what? Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had some life lessons, strangely.
Okay.
When I was a kid, my mother was still alive, and we were at a movie theater, and they had a raffle. And there was some object, it was your movie ticket.
Sure.
That I really wanted. And when somebody else got it, I mumbled, the other guy always gets the things I want. And a woman in front of me turned around and said to me, be happy you're not the other guy. And I said, what do you mean? Why? I wanted that thing. She said, because it's the other guy you read about who got killed or strange things have happened to. So that was a life lesson to me that,
It's almost like the lottery winners,
yeah,
lottery
you just
winners
can't pin your hopes
seem
on some.
to always suffer after they win the lottery.
Well, I had a period of outs with my father, who was a very good guy, and my mother died young, and he didn't know what to do with me, so he put me with my grandparents, which was a good move. But I had the outs with him, and it was over discussions about paying for school.
Yeah.
I was coming up on university,
Yeah.
and my father was a wonderful guy, but that conversation sticks in my mind, and he was obstinate. We'll see.
Uh-huh.
We'll see. I said, Dad, I won't be hurt if you tell me you can't help me, but I
Yeah.
got to know.
Yeah.
We'll
one way or
see,
another.
we'll see. And I think I ended the hour or so argument with, we'll see what, the clouds are going to open up and change things, And I didn't speak to my father living in the same house for about 6 months
Oh, my.
Wow.
until his wife came to me and said, Philip, your father's. Oh, I'll tell you a cute little anecdote about her, though.
Okay.
Third wife. The second one was a total disaster. Oh, there's the other life.
Your dad's third wife.
Yeah.
Okay.
My father never gave advanced information on something. He'd say, meet me for such and such. Or I was suddenly, we were living with this woman, the second wife, and her two sons who were close to my age. And it wasn't, for me, a very good situation. And then all of a sudden, one day, he and I are alone in an apartment.
Okay.
He left. So it was around this time about the college money, and I said to my father on a Sunday morning, I said, Dad, now that you got rid of that bitch, can we talk about my college stuff? And the only time in his life he hauled off and whacked me.
Oh, really?
Oh.
And what I learned from that is you don't get into people's relationships, no
Right.
matter whether
True.
they're broken,
Very true.
solid. So those are good little life
Never
lessons.
take sides.
Very true.
You'll get injured.
But then he came to me before the third wife, and he'd say to me, we would meet for dinner because we were batching it,
Uh-huh.
And he'd say, meet me at Curry's Thursday night at such and such. Curry's was a restaurant in Miami Beach.
Okay.
Why? Meet me there. He introduced me to a woman.
Uh-huh.
They ended up presumably getting married, and she was very good to me. She was, I don't mean to demean it, but she cooked and cared for me.
Sure.
Okay.
And sometime later, she came to me one day and she said, Philip, you really disappointed me. And I said, what did I do, Lily? She said, you didn't congratulate us on our anniversary.
Oh.
I said, Lily, I really I'm sorry, I didn't know. I had no idea when the anniversary was. I had no idea if, in fact, you were married or not. And boy, that kicked it off. I mean,
wow.
I would never live in sin with a man, you know.
Oh, wow.
I learned that lesson there, too.
Wow.
Oh, I had one in dentistry. I walked out to the reception room, 2 women sitting there, one of them a patient of mine. I said, "Hi, Mrs. Jones, how are you?" She said, "Fine." I said, "Don't tell me who this lady is. She's your mother." She says, "I'm her sister."
Ooh.
Oh.
There you go.
So you learn from these things.
Open
Damn well.
mouth,
Yeah.
insert foot,
Right.
Phil. Huh?
So Phil, when exactly are you going to start learning from these stories?
I'm still learning.
Still learning.
Still learning.
All right.
I'm still
Yeah.
learning how not to get involved in political arguments.
That's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I don't know if you play any cards. I play poker.
I do not play. I
play
do not
poker.
gamble. That's one of my
Okay,
things.
you don't gamble. Okay, so there's a saying
Yeah, I
in
walk-
The way he
poker.
plays
walk
it, it's not
across the
gambling
street.
either.
There's a saying in poker: you're either winning or you're learning. You're not losing. I mean, you're losing, but you're learning.
You're
so
playing
You
Texas
learn-
Hold'em.
Texas
that kind of
Hold'em
stuff.
is a great. I love it. It's something I've been doing for a long
Do you
time.
do it online?
I do it a little online, but not for real money.
Okay.
But we have a little group. We played yesterday. We play every once a week. It's fun, not for a lot of money.
There's some
We play
groups
for a
in our
little bit of
community,
money.
but
Yeah.
I try to get into a group at the previous community, and they were playing these insane games where you turn over a card and it changed.
No.
the wild
Oh,
card
no.
and all.
I hate those games.
Yeah,
I hate
so
those
I
games.
just it was too
No.
complicated for me to follow.
We play Texas Hold'em. I love the game. It's one game. It doesn't no wild cards, no anything like that. It's great. But I feel like I could talk to you for a long time because I had problems with my father too. I had problems with my father, and
We can start a club.
yeah,
Problems with our
all the
father.
problems
Well,
with our
I will
fathers.
tell you this much: he died unexpectedly. He actually crashed on the turnpike, and the
Oh,
car was
sorry.
incinerated.
Oh
Ooh.
God.
He
Sorry to
was
hear
just
that.
recovering from hospitalization and loss
Yeah.
of his wife.
Oh.
And I cried like a baby at his funeral, and I was really happy about it. I mean, I felt like,
Yeah, the emotion.
but I said to the rabbi, I said, it was a rabbi they picked up from
Right.
his Knights of Pythias or something, and he said, "Philip, tell me about your father." I said, "Rabbi, I'll tell you about my father, but let's not give all of this crap about what kind of wonderful. He was a guy.
Yeah.
He was a
give me
guy.
this- don't
Yeah.
give me this flowery.
Yeah.
His life was magnificent and all that stuff. He was
Well-
just a guy.
Well, the problem with my father, he succeeded in life as much as he could. I mean, and he's from Brooklyn. He wasn't really well educated, and I needed kind of like a role model, and he wasn't. He would always say to me, "I don't know what to tell you." If I had a question, "I don't know what to tell you." And now I have a daughter, and I hate it when I get to the point where I have to say, "I don't know what to tell you," because I just don't know. So
Well, my father was a great role model for me because in reverse, he was a guy like you're describing. He scruffed a living. He always was working.
Yeah.
We always ate well.
Yeah.
But he drove trucks and he delivered milk and he sold and he whatever. And when it came time as I was maturing and trying to decide what to do with my life, he was one of my models. I seriously, I said, I want my life to be better than my father's was.
Uh-huh.
So I chose a profession.
Wow.
and you were a dentist.
I was a dentist, and people ask me why, and all I can tell you is that as far back as grade school, when you have these autograph books, do they still have them?
Yeah, I don't know. I had
Well,
him.
As far back as grade school, junior high school, college, everywhere in the little blurb, Phil wants to be a dentist. Now, I had an uncle, my mother's sister's husband, who was a dentist and a very sweet man, and he was always very nice to me. I think that was part of it. I didn't want to be a physician because I didn't want to make house calls and be
Right.
tied up, and I didn't want to be an engineer, so I chose dentistry.
Dentistry.
Wow.
Wow. And you lose as many patients as a dentist as a
Well,
doctor
what-
would.
Shall I tell you how many I lost?
Sure.
0.
Well, okay,
Zero.
that's what I thought.
All right.
We had a podiatrist, and that my wife asked him the same question. Why did you choose podiatry? He says, because podiatrists never lose patients. We don't have to,
Well, I had a rough connection with dentists because I was probably like, I don't know, 8 or 9 years old or something. And they in New York, there was, I don't know, it was John's Bargain Store or something like that.
Okay.
It was like an early Price Mart or
Okay.
something. But
Okay.
very small, but you could buy quantities.
All right.
And there were these candies that were like caramels. I forgot the name of them, but they were
Like swirls?
no. They were little things, but caramels, like
Okay.
little caramel balls. So my mother,
Malt balls?
no, not malt balls.
Milk
They
duds.
were Milk Duds. I
Milk
think
duds.
they were
Milk
Milk
duds,
Duds.
yeah, that's
Milk
what I
Duds.
was thinking
I
of.
love
So
Milk
my
Duds.
mother bought this gigundo package of boxes of Milk Duds all together, and I just went through them.
Yeah.
I ended up 14 cavities.
Don't
after
dentists
that.
love Milk Duds?
They must.
My mother would take me, and remember, she died just shortly before my 12th birthday.
Uh-huh.
She took me to this uncle, regular care. I don't remember much about it, but I do remember going. When I got to dental school, I had not set foot in a dental office from age 11 something till 21 when I got to
Really?
dental.
Wow.
And
You wanted to be a dentist. You didn't want to go to the dentist.
no, I never gave it a thought. I was scruffing to pay college costs and all of that, and dates and all of that. So I never gave it a thought. And I tell people it's true, but it's ironic that the worst year of my life was the first year I was married because my mouth fell apart. I had nights of toothache after toothache
Oh,
after
wow.
toothache where I visited this guy's office and pulled this guy out of bed and all that, and I'd get this one under control, and 4 nights later, this one would go. It was just an absolute horror.
Wow.
Wow.
So-
That people use nitrous oxide in those days?
Not when I was not back in dental school, but we had nitrous oxide in the office.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was just for fun, though.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it could be. It's like weed, It has, except that you get rid of the high instantly when you
Right.
turn the stuff off.
Oh, yeah.
While weed,
That keeps going
They
for a
tell
while.
me that.
Well,
goes
there's a
I
famous.
tell you that.
There's a famous scene in Seinfeld. I don't know if you know it, where he goes to the dentist, and the dentist takes a hit of the nitrous oxide before he
Right, I
puts
saw
it
that.
on him.
I've been watching I've been doing the Seinfeld thing. I'm up to the 8th season now. and
Oh.
I just saw that one
Yeah,
recently.
yeah, that's and actually a little trivia about that scene. The idea for that came from a crew member. She said, "Oh, you know what'd be funny?" And the actor who was the guy from not
Jason
Better Call Saul,
Alexander?
the other show.
Bryan Cranston?
Yeah, Bryan Cranston is the dentist. Yeah.
Oh, he's a great guy. I met
Yeah.
him once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he got that idea from a crew member.
He made
Oh,
a
that's
great movie,
funny.
Trump. Not Trump, Trumbo.
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 Oh, yeah.
Terrific
Don
film.
Trumbo.
All right, well, Phil, I want to thank you so much, Phil Benzel, for being on the weekend kickoff. It was
Yeah.
great having you for the entire hour.
We weren't going to make you talk that
talking
much.
sports.
I was
Sports.
wondering where your other guest was.
So are we.
So are
We burned up an hour.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked for an
I
hour.
could go
We
further,
went
too. I
through
could
it.
keep going.
You got to come back. We have to have you on
We're
again.
leaving
exactly.
Wednesday.
But wow, next time. Next
Next
Yeah,
time.
you'll be
So,
back.
Patrick, want to thank you for doing this show
Thank you,
again.
buddy.
And always, Big Daddy's Grill. Try the Boom Boom Chicken,
Go there.
Boom Boom Shrimp,
Drink some
whatever.
margaritas.
Get a donut. Phil has one more thing to
Let
say.
me thank you guys for inviting me. It's been a pleasure. It's been fun.
Our
Thank
pleasure.
you.
And that's the weekend kickoff.
Ha ha.